Alright, welcome to another Robolink tutorial. So today we're going to be programming the BugBot. If you have not watched our previous tutorials about how to use the different components, such as motors, I recommend that you go and watch that before doing this video. Alright, so with that out of the way, how about we begin? So the very first thing we're going to add is we're going to add our Smart Inventor.h library. So for most of the robots that we make that include motors, we have to include this library in order to be able to use the motors. Next we're going to add two global variables. So these global variables are going to be for our LEDs. So the way this robot's going to use the LEDs is they're going to be our indicator to see what speed we are in. So the more lights they're on, the bigger the higher the speed. And then the opposite is true. So we're gonna make these two variables, and this is gonna stand for the left side or the leftmost LED, and this one the rightmost LED. And then we're gonna do some little clever thing to make it turn on one light at a time smartly. The next variable is gonna be our speed, and so the speed is gonna be pretty standard number, 50. Whoa, sorry about that. So it's gonna be 50. And that's how fast the robot's gonna move. And finally, we're gonna make one final variable, and this one's gonna be called key data. So this is gonna be used for our remote. So the robot we're gonna be programming right now uses the remote to move around, and the way that we're gonna save the direction that the remote is sending, so whether it's up, down, left or right, or function 1 or function 2, is whatever information is sent from the remote, we're going to save into this variable. Right. So that's enough for our global variables. So void setup goes first, and then inside we're going to do a few things first. So like most programs, we're going to set up our LED lights to be outputs, since they're going to be our speed indicators. And then because we're starting at a pretty average speed, 50, we're gonna turn on 4 of those lights. So we're gonna turn on 13, 14, 15, and 16. And if you notice over here, our speed meters are 13 and 16. So if we turn off lights, the left one is gonna be 14, and the right one is gonna be our left one is gonna be 14, and the right one is gonna be 15. And if we turn on more lights, the left one would turn into 12 and the right one would turn into 17. We'll see how that plays later on a little bit more. And then now we're going to use setup so that we can use our remote control and our robot can use it. We're going to use the Smart Inventor.tv remote con use. So this sets it up so that your robot can basically look for the signal that's coming from the remote. And we're also gonna do the DC motor use so that we can use the remote. Now, since these two functions are setting up and they're establishing which pins need to be used and all that, we're gonna give it a little delay here so it doesn't leave the setup loop too fast.